Hello, my name is Emmett Taylor, and I am the director of the Nez Perce Tribe's Fisheries Watershed Division. The Watershed Division is one of 7 divisions within the Fisheries program. It is the goal and missions of the Watershed Division to restore and to protect the ecosystems, the watersheds, the rivers and the streams and the habitat that the fish need to live, to survive, to thrive, and to recover. Mussel shell meadows, or Sawisnima, as it is called in the Nez Perce language, is a place in the upper Lolo Creek drainage very important to the Nez Perce people that was and still is very rich in natural resources. Historically, the Nez Perce used mussel shell meadows as a place where the different bands of the Nez Perce would come to gather. It was used for spiritual and religious ceremonies. It was a place to hunt, to fish, and to gather roots and medicines, and also camas within the meadow. Camas is a root in the form of a bulb that is gathered in the late summer and fall. Today, there are still many Nez Perce that go to mussel shell meadows and gather camas and other important roots and medicines in the area. Mussel shell meadows has become much more important in the most recent years because many other areas where camas was historically gathered by Nez Perce has been lost or degraded. The meadow is also critically important to the health of the ecosystem, the watershed, and the creeks and streams and the fish that live there.
In an effort to restore wet meadow habitat conditions, the Nez Perce Tribe Watershed Division plans to complete a berm removal and floodplain reconnection project, in addition to installing beaver dam analogs in Mussel Shell Meadow. The meadow is located in Clearwater County, just outside of Weippe, Idaho. Historic use of the meadow included a lumber mill operation that used a man-made pond to store timber until being sawed into lumber. The pond was fed from a diversion canal controlled by a headgate to maintain water levels in the pond. Currently, there are several negative impacts from this historic ditch. Due to high water, the headgate is beginning to wash out and could alter the flow path of the current channel. In addition, the ditch is intercepting groundwater, lowering the natural water table throughout the wetland areas. This is causing a change in native plant communities. The Mussel Shell Meadow berm removal and floodplain reconnection project will include removal of the failing headgate, installation of a large wood structure, and removal of approximately a quarter mile of spoil piles to fill the legacy diversion canal. The goal of this project is to increase floodplain connectivity throughout the meadow. After the construction phase of the project is completed, riparian buffers will be planted to help restore the natural vegetation community.
Beaver dam analogs, or BDAs, are artificial beaver dams which are structures built out of materials very similar to what beavers would use, including logs, sticks, grass, sand, and mud. To build a BDA, crews have to first collect the materials to construct the dam. We sharpen the ends of the logs so we can more easily pound them into the stream bottom. Here, we use the chainsaw. Pounding logs into the stream bottom is hard work, but it's much easier using a hydraulic post pounder. The pounder is really heavy and has to be carried or wheeled to the project site. Once it's set up, the pounder can drive a post 2 to 4 feet into the stream bottom with relative ease. Once the posts are installed, they form the backbone of the structure. Then brush, sticks, and other material can be added on. A frequently asked question is, why are we building beaver dams instead of letting the beavers do it? Well, that answer is pretty complicated, but here's the easiest way to explain it. There simply aren't enough beavers to fix all the streams that need to be restored. Beavers are known as nature's engineers. They are very deserving of this title given their ability to build complicated structures withstand up to high flows and the power of water. Beavers typically construct dams in flat, low-energy streams, which are adjacent to meadows and brushy flat areas. These low-energy streams are typically very stable. However, when they get disturbed by logging, mining, or other human-caused activity, they can become incised or too deep. If the channels stay too deep over time, the native vegetation along them will die or change to plants that can survive in these much drier conditions. By building the BDAs, the stream bottoms will fill up and allow wetter vegetation to return. Over time, beavers may move back in and take over construction of the BDAs and make them into real beaver dams.
As a remote pilot for the Nez Perce Tribe's Watershed Division, I am using UAVs to collect data for fisheries habitat improvement projects. UAVs, or unmanned aerial vehicles, commonly referred to as drones, are a relatively new and rapidly emerging technology. Combined with ground-based control stations, they are referred to as unmanned aerial systems, or UAS. UAS technology allows large areas to be surveyed with minimal time input with a large amount of data collection. Because of their mobility, paired with sensors that collect a vast range of data, relatively large tracts of land can be surveyed at a scale that far exceeds the outputs of ground survey crews. To expand our knowledge of wet meadows and accelerate data collection capabilities, the Nez Perce Tribe Watershed Division plans to use unmanned aerial systems to capture broad-scale delineation of wetland vegetation boundaries, stream buffers, and invasive species concentrations. A total of 32 meadows encompassing around 1,000 acres will be surveyed over the next 2 summers. The information gained from these surveys will be used for project prioritization of future habitat restoration activities and allow for adaptive management. Most of our projects are flown using an automated flight plan that is set up on a computer or a tablet and then used in the field to capture multiple images over a large spatial scale. When we want to analyze an image or something really big, one picture can't capture everything. This is when we create an orthomosaic. Ortho meaning straightened or aligned, and mosaic meaning put together with many pieces. Often orthomaps are composed of hundreds of photos stitched together into a single scene. The maps and video generated from UAV flights allow us to track changes in restoration projects, including stream movements, vegetation growth, and overall success after a project is completed.
The Nez Perce, or Nimipu as we call ourselves, have lived on and within the lands of the Clearwater River, Salmon River, the areas of Northeast Oregon and Southeast Washington for thousands of years. We have stories of a time in history when animal people could speak, and when us humans first came into existence, the Creator, Haniwat, through Coyote, asked each of these animal species to come forward and how they would help or sacrifice themselves so us pitiful humans could survive. But this sacrifice by the animals came in an agreement that we as humans would take care of them as well, and the teaching that we would never take more than what we needed. In that way, we do not consider ourselves better than or above the animals or plant species, but on equal footing, and we live within and are a part of the ecosystem and landscape. With this in mind, hunting for deer, elk, or fishing for salmon, steelhead, or trout, and gathering of berries such as huckleberries and roots and medicines are so very important. They take care of us, but we must fulfill that promise that if we take care of the land, the water, the animals, the fish, they will take care of us. And this is why I love this job so much. It is because I grew up, like many of you, I'm sure, hunting, fishing, spending a lot of time in the outdoors, gathering roots and berries with my grandma and my grandparents, and to be able to have a job to where I could work in protecting and restoring those resources for fishing and hunting and gathering has just been a job that's really been a dream for me. There is a very real need for leaders in natural resource management. If you love the outdoors, if you love to hunt, to fish, to camp, a professional career in natural resource management could be for you. Over the past 150 years, there has been a lot of changes on the landscape. A lot of that change has hurt and degraded the land and the water and the animals, fish, and plants that depend on them. Into the future, it'll be important to have leaders in natural resource management that will protect and restore these natural resources and be able to adapt to the changes that are happening. Always remember the promise and the teachings that if we take care of Mother Earth will take care of us. Thank you.